So what we're going to do next is go over the armrest adjustments in a little more detail than we did at the delivery. The first thing I'm going to do for this one, since we had previously tightened it down, I'm going to break loose the turnbuckle and its jam nut to allow us to adjust up and down. So by breaking that loose, I have freed up the system so that we can now do an angle adjustment like this. And we can use our 13mm wrench to break loose the 3 bolts that hold the hinge section in place. There's one on the side rail, and then there's another one on the back rail that is well hidden under the knuckle. Now that we have this system loosened, we can move this up and down, and you will notice that there are index marks on the back here, right over here. And what we want to do is I'm going to have it moved up to the top index, and then I'm going to tighten it back down. So I've moved it down about 1/2 inch from where I had it. Now I'm going to tighten it. In place, and what you're going to notice, since I moved the whole system down a little bit, this angle is now going down. So to get that angle at an appropriate level, we're going to turn the turnbuckle to raise the front end. So you can see that the front end is starting to raise. We really want this to try to be about parallel with the seat rail. However, it really depends on the comfort level of the individual that's going to be using it. So now I have that tightened down. Say I have it where I want it. I'm going to clamp this to hold it. I'm going to hit the jam nut. And I'm going to put about 20 pounds of torque to make sure that that doesn't move. Now, the next adjustment that we're going to look at is the angle of the arm in and out. The first thing that we need to consider is the articulations. We have the 1 articulation and the 2 articulation. On the top of these articulations there are indices in the metal with pointers on each of the pieces that are moving. What we need to do is try to keep them lined up with corresponding indices on the top and on the bottom to maintain a parallel configuration with the chair. However, if the patient needs that to be internally rotated so his or her arm can rest nicely on it, then we allow them to actually make that decision. So I'm going to take this off so I can turn it around and show you on the underside of these. Now, it's not necessary to take these off to do this. I'm taking it off just so that the camera can have a better angle at it. There are set screws on the bottom at each of the articulations. And if these set screws do not come out of the factory set, so it's important that during the delivery that these set screws are actually tightened down to keep the lateral wobble to a minimum. So I'm going to loosen those set screws up. I'm going to put this back on. And then we're going to use a 6mm Allen wrench here to actually start rotating and move this articulation out. So by turning it in the counterclockwise fashion, I'm going to rotate it out. And once I get it all the way to its most furthest out position, I'll actually rotate the other one in and then take off the armrest to show you how the indices actually line up. Because I'm going to go here and I'm going to go in the clockwise position to rotate this back in so that it becomes more and more parallel. Okay. As you can see, we've removed the armrest from the wheelchair just so that we can show the indices here and here on the angles. What is important before we reconnect this armrest back to the wheelchair is tightening the set screws on the bottom here and here. What we're going to use to tighten those is a 3mm Allen wrench. Tighten them down so that they can maintain the position of the armrest. Good. Then it's time to replace this back onto the power wheelchair, and using the knob, tightening it down in its position, and then we should be good to go.